Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Europa, where we are currently embroiled in a war, and I don't remember anything about this war. I'm noting this up over here. Looks like we're attacking up over this direction. I guess I'm remembering some of this now. Yeah, we're fighting up over here. France declared this. That's right. Okay, fantastic. So I want to take a look here. We don't need a fort in both of these locations, and they both do exactly the same thing in terms of the strategic position. I think that we're better off with the one in Hama. So I'm going to get rid of the one in Homs, and we're going to keep the fort in Hama. We don't need both. So that looks good for now. We were planning, I believe, on attacking somewhere down over here, but that ended up not panning out because of this war that France declared. So that's fine. We need to get Ancona sieged out very soon, though, ideally. So we do have a rebel uprising brewing. This is Aleppan separatists right up over here. So that's not a problem. I would love to provoke the revolt, but we can't do that while we're at war. So that's not a thing. That means that we should not have this force get tied up in a siege. My initial first thought was we should come here and start up a siege there. But then I was like, but we've got these guys in Aleppo. We do have this fort here, which will prevent them from getting separatism. Maybe it's okay. How likely is it that they spawn? 15.4% chance per month. That's a lot. The unrest here is quite high due to unlawful territory, ignored unrest. Yeah, sure. That's going to be a thing. So I'm going to hop up over here and start up a siege, but I'm expecting them to very quickly spawn here. We'll see how that goes. Let's set an agenda, and what do we want that agenda to be? Base tax in Ajlun, that's pretty okay. A dock or dry dock in Damietta? What do we got going on in Damietta right now? We do have a building slot available, and this would be a base production. I'm going to do that. How much are we making per month? 35? I'm just going to put in a dock for right now to get that done a little bit more quickly. We'll upgrade it to a dry dock later if I remember. Emphasis on if I remember. So that looks good for now, and they're running around out over here. They're trying to siege here, but that's at minus 99%. That's probably not going to happen anytime soon. We could put... There's those Aleppan separatists. We haven't made any progress on this fort. So I'm going to walk away on that one, and we're just going to get these guys dealt with. There we go. And now we're going to walk right on back in. Excellent. So there's a bunch of people running around out over here. We see Kufa down this direction. Can we make our way too far? We can. That's not surprising. They're the Emperor. So with that in mind, we may want to think about pulling these guys over. Yeah, I'm going to do it. So we're going to move our fleet on over. This is fine. And these sieges will get wrapped up soon enough. So France is definitely embroiled in quite a war there. That is very awkward. Our primary military fleet was just behind our transports there. Okay. Well, this is going badly for us, probably due to a lack of admiral. That and our fleet is probably a bit behind the times. I'm not surprised about that. But that causes us problems. No doubt about it. So that means that we're now not in a position to navally move these troops. That's okay, but it does mean these guys are going to be a little on their own, and France is a long ways away. So that's absolutely noted. They have forces moving up. We could still move... Can we just walk through Alexandria? Yeah, because we're at war with the Emperor. Of course. We can just walk over here. This is fine. So we're going to do exactly that. We're going to head on over, and that looks good. We do need to get our navy upgraded. That's very, very clear. But we need to make our way over this way and bring in some relief forces. No doubt about that. So we're on our way over with relief forces, and for the time being, we're hoping that these sieges just kind of wrap up. I mean, they're going to occupy some out over here. That's fine. But this siege did wrap up. So I want to move these forces together at this time. I want to wrap up this siege as well. That's a very, very big deal at this point. So let's do that. 78%, and we failed the roll. Oof. Okay. What do we got next? There, it's done. Okay, so now I want to cruise down. Oh, we have to go that way because of the fort here. We have to go opposite directions. I'm going to leave these guys here for now. We're going to bring these lads up. Okay, so this siege is finally over. That's good. We're going to move these guys out so that we don't have to replenish them. So that seems fine. No issue there. And we're going to get all of these sieges completed soon enough. But these guys being trapped here and having to go different directions is very awkward. So we need to bring these forces up to relieve them. We can't really move out of this spot for right now. So these armies are on their way up. And once they arrive up here, then we'll be able to move these lads. So we can do something like this and have these guys just make their way up to reinforce over here. Remember, these armies are completely interchangeable. We just want to have two of them, right? So this is fine. And they fled in the face of that, and that's perfect. So I want these guys to come out over here, and that seems okay. We're going to group these together. And I'd like to grab some sieges out over this direction, but I'd also like to come and clean up some of these little guys out over here. Also, apparently, my work phone is ringing. It's been doing that a lot today, and that is very obnoxious. I will have to take this. I will be right back. I apologize. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Usually, I record early in the morning to try to avoid people calling in the middle of my episode recordings, and that's still the case right now. It is early in the morning, and people are still calling. Apparently, we're getting a start on the day today. Well, hopefully that won't continue. So for now, we're just going to push up over this direction and get this taken on. But I do want to head out over here. I'd love to fight this force. I doubt we're going to get there in time, though. So let's head on over, and yeah, this is going to get capped back from this fort. We're going to need to start up some sieges up over this direction, and I certainly do want to do that. I just saw 116k troops right here. Okay, that changes things. We have more troops than that right here, right? There's no doubt about that, but that definitely has an effect on the landscape. If they're right up here with 116k, that means we need to keep our armies pretty close together. Now, we finished up the occupation over here. That's great. But what we really need to do here is get a decisive battle. But with all of these forts in this region, that's going to be complicated. So we're going to have to keep our units together and take heavy attrition here. At least until we have visual confirmation that they've headed off over this way. There's some forces here. I want to head over and see if we can battle them down this direction. I doubt we'll get there in time, but if they're starting up a siege there, I'd love to fight this. They're heading into Konya. We'll see if we can catch them. Actually, we can, but there's 103k in Konya. Okay. I'm just thinking about whether we should try to bring down one of these units or not. I'm going to do it. If they're just sitting there, I want to bring in reinforcements and fight them here. A decisive victory here would be a big deal. However, this will be in Highlands. This will be a difficult battle for us. It's going to be beyond the combat width. So we're going to see how this goes. I don't necessarily expect a tremendous victory out of this, but if we can just eke out a victory, that would be huge. They tried to run there. Oh, this is going really well. Okay, so we rolled a 9 to begin with. They rolled an 8 plus 2 from their fire phase, and we're spanking them. So that's a really good sign. We've got a morale base bump on them. We've got the same military tactics and slightly higher discipline. So we're going to crush them. Unless we roll really poorly in this shock phase. And we didn't. So that was great. That was really, really good. So we're not actually at war here. We just have access. But I'm going to split up our units a little bit here, and we're going to head around and get some sieges going here. Now, we didn't stack wipe those units, but that definitely gave me a lot of confidence knowing how the stats are lining up. So that's great. Next up, we're going to head up over here. We did definitely suffer some losses from that. So that's noted. We also lost a military leader right here, and we absolutely need to roll a new one. That is of utmost importance. So there we go, and at this juncture, I would love to build more counting houses, I feel like. So we'll do that. We'll get some of those underway. Okay, so these sieges are going pretty well at this point. Now, who all are we at war with over here? Let's go into diplomatic map mode. So France is fighting out over here. We don't need to worry about that. Interesting. So we're definitely going to be pushing them to the south here very quickly. Okay, who just peaced out? That's not the whole war. Savoy peaced out. And they gave us 64 ducats. Okay, cool. So we're going to continue to push through this area out over here. I'm hoping that we see this siege end, but... Oh, we can actually walk past it up to here. That's perfect. So that's great. We have 4 sieges underway here, and we know that they have a lot of troops in the area. So we will see if we have to abandon any of these sieges. But we also know that we outstat them. War's over. Okay. Ancona is giving France war reps, and they gave us 158 ducks. Well, that's disappointing. This is why we like it when we're in control of the war. We're going to get these guys back to drilling, and the first thing that I want to do here is I want to replenish our combat fleet. So we know that we need to take this up to 80, right? 80 transports. There we go. And we didn't have a fleet leader here, that's understood. But I definitely want to increase our counts here. So I want to take this up to, and this is going to be expensive, I want to take this up to 40 3-deckers. But I also want to upgrade these. 1,200 to upgrade all of those. Okay, noted. We can grab our admin tech, and we should do that. We're behind time on that. So we're going to get going on that. That gives us an idea group. And diplomatic ideas, probably the way to go. Maybe trade ideas? I think trade ideas. So we're going to take trade ideas, and that'll be fine. We'll start putting points into that, but we're not there yet. So we know that we want to mothball our forts, so that is definitely a high priority mission. There we go. And then these guys are currently chilling here. I want to take 2 of them out over this direction, but we would need to use the fleet for that. So for now, we're going to take them out over here, and then we're going to put the other 2 down over here. We need to do a little recovery from that war, but not much before we're ready to declare another war, I think. These guys are still in position. We held them in reserve that entire time. We did not need them, and that seems good. So we're going to get all of these guys back to drilling so that they can recover their drill. We can seize land, and the nobility would be sad about that right now. But I don't care. Okay, this is all up in Italy. Cool. So these guys were drilling, but they don't have the troop count to stop us. So we're going to do something like that, and I believe this is... Oh, there's another one up over here. Sure. These guys back to drilling. Excellent. We'll stack wipe this, and then we're going to... I told you to pop up over here. Local autonomy. Okay, sure. Well, we stack wipe them, and that comes back. Okay. So local autonomy isn't that big of a deal, but that may have canceled one of these ships. It's still saying 80. Okay, I don't think it did. So that seems fine. We can sell titles. This would be a bad idea at this moment, and that's okay. We're going to let the nobles recover for a little bit. Navarra so discontent amongst our population. Very rude of them. Incredibly, incredibly rude. Also, Portugal's down over here. Okay. Portugal doing Portugal things. That's okay. So what I really want to do is I want to get this force upgraded. We need a little bit more money for that, and then we want to expand this force significantly. So we need money for all of that. We could sell titles. It's kind of a bad idea. That plague was unfortunate. We need the money. So we're going to upgrade these ships. There we go. That's going to bring them all up to the current standard. And then what we need to do is, well, actually, I want to check this. We are rooting out corruption right now, and we don't need to be. So let's stop rooting out corruption for the moment. Cities are demanding old rights. No. Well, actually, yes. That's fine. So we need a little bit more money, but specifically what we need to get that money is we need to boost, well, not to get the money. What we need to do with the money is build more heavy ships. I'm going to take this up to 40. So we're going to need 10 more, and that's going to take a few months to get that amount of money. That's fine. So that's underway, and we could also cut our fleet maintenance, but I'm not going to do that, because I want these to be continuing to repair. So for now, that seems fine. We're up to 35 here. There's a lack of demand for old draperies. That is indeed regrettable. But that definitely indicates that we need to do some work on our navy, right? No doubt about that. So this is 38, 39, and 40. Perfect. But now we need galleys, and I want to have the same number of galleys as is in our standard transport fleet, which is going to be 80. So this is a lot of galleys. Luckily, galleys are very cheap. So we can build these quite easily. That takes us up to 40, and we will be exceeding our naval force limit. That's understood. So that's 50, 56, 61. And now we need more money. We did just lose this general, so we'll roll up a new one. What do we got? That's decent. Okay. So back over here, we want to continue to put money into our frigates. That's 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. There we go. That is the number of ships that we want to build. So we're at 79 out of 80 transports. And I believe that we're not actually building this transport. I don't know where this transport is, but I don't think it's real. I think it was canceled in Capitania when that was capped by the rebels. So that's my theory at this time. Okay, I want to put some money into a great synagogue in Cagliari. That's actually a pretty good spot for one. I'm assuming that we've already got, yeah, we've got a furnace here. We've got a marketplace, and we've got a counting house. Okay, perfect. France wants sailors? Yeah, you can have sailors. That's fine. We're done building ships. So that seems okay. And I want to continue to put money for now into counting houses, but I am going to put in money into this great synagogue. And then we'll get a couple of a counting house. We're making a good amount of money right now. So that looks great. I am interested in seeing this fleet getting up to 80. And once that's done, which may take a little while because we have a lot queued up here. Once that's done, we're going to move our troops. But I definitely want to get our combat fleet more state-of-the-art because, frankly, that was a bit embarrassing what Athens did to us there. We had no leader, and that definitely didn't help. But we also had dated ships, and not as many of them as we should have had. So that's fine. And at this point, I definitely want to build more counting houses. Excellent. So we're making solid progress on all of that. We're going to finish up these ships eventually. Great Britain wants military access? They're at war with the Holy Roman Empire. I'll allow it. We're okay with them fighting the Holy Roman Empire, that's for sure. So, what was our plan down here? I think we were going to fight Medina, right? Pretty sure that was the plan. These guys are pretty good on their drill. I think we'll hold off on the war for just a smidge. Not very long, but I want to get these counting houses completed. And we can build almost one per 2 months. Not quite, but it's very, very close to that. So that's good. We can set an agenda, and I'd like to do so. This is going to be... Ligurian Sea, huh? We would need to have 65% or more trade power. What is our trade power up here right now? So the Ligurian Sea is this right up over here. This is going to be the Genoa trade node. So if we look at this, we can see we have 46% trade power. We can definitely do some natural harbor upgrades out over here in Lucca and Pisa. And in Rome and Napoli. Well, Rome might be maxed out, actually. Yeah, this is a world port. So that's as good as that's going to get. I'm assuming we already have a marketplace over here, or, well, a trade depot. We could upgrade that to a stock exchange. Okay, I'm going to take the proposal of the merchant guilds, and we'll invest some money into getting the Genoa trade node here upgraded. So this is all part of the Genoa trade node all the way down to Palermo. So we can work on upgrading a lot of these, and to that end, I'm going to debase our currency exactly once, and we're going to put that money into upgrading in Palermo. So there we go, and this marketplace could also be upgraded, but for the time being, I want to upgrade this again. But we can't do that because we need additional development for Worldport. Fair enough. So this we would upgrade. Excellent. And this one we would require more money. Going to a level 2 is a lot cheaper than going to a level 3. So let's just go to level 2s for right now. And then down over here, we can start upgrading these marketplaces. This is going to go to a stock exchange. Consider that done. And then this here has a marketplace. Okay, I'd like to bring that up to a stock exchange as well. There we go. And then this is an emporium. That requires 200 ducats. Understood. So currently we have what here? This is just a regular marketplace. Okay. Let's get that upgraded as soon as we get a little bit more money here. Any moment now. There we go. And then in Lucca, we've got a regular marketplace here too. We're going to need to get that upgraded. And we can move our trade fleet back if we need to. But I'd like to see what this ends up looking like. Hey, look, Faris is the Emperor. Sure, whatever. I don't care. So we'll get going there. That's going to boost up our trade power here somewhat. But what we really, really need to do is we need to get this moved over to protect trade for now in Genoa. This is still not going to be the best location by far. We're going to lose money by doing this. But the idea is that we want to boost up our amount of trade power that is currently here. So that brought it to 58. Okay. Once we finish up these stock exchanges, I think that'll do the trick. Oh yeah, that'll definitely do the trick. We're going to want to move these back as soon as we can. But for now, that is looking phenomenal. Okay, we're making good progress on these stock exchanges. We're at 59. And any moment now, it's going to go up to 60. The stock exchanges are still coming in. We've got about 60 days at this point. There it's at 60. Did that finish it? Oh, we need 65. Okay. Well, to that end, I'm still interested in putting in some additional ships here. I'd like to get this up to 80. So we'll get that going. Looks good. Christian influence? That's rude. So we need to get that converted back. consider that done. And we'll get some of these light ships built. They should be built fairly quickly and give us a lot more trade power out over here. Does upgrading our light ships give us more trade power protection? I don't actually know. It might. Let's recruit a general here. And if we were to do this, how much would this cost? Well, it needs to be in port. So let's move it into port for now. And this would be 700 ducats. That's perfect. Do it. Now we're going to go and protect trade in the Genoa trade node temporarily. But we need to give them time for all of this to come back up, right? And we're going to have some fleet awkwardness here, for sure. That's okay. We'll deal with that in a bit. So for now, I want to go into stock exchanges, and I want to sort by the cost. So we can see that these are all going to be upgrades at this point. These are not going to take building slots. These will take building slots. So there's our trade power in the Genoa trade node, actually. That's kind of remarkable. But let's get these guys over to protecting trade elsewhere then. And it's going to be a little awkward because we're going to need to move ships with them. But we still want to be out over here. And that was a lot more profit. So yeah, it's clear that upgrading them was a good call. So let's lose some prestige here if we have to lose something. And I'd like to grab... We could grab a humanist idea, and I'm okay with that. We can also grab this sweet, sweet global trade power, which is going to boost us potentially more, but there's 10 prestige. Okay, sure. So this is fine, but these light ships are going to need to join this force, right? That's only 3 out of 30. We'll give them some time, and we'll come back to that. But I definitely do want to... Okay, they did revolt. Where? In Cyprus? It's a little awkward. Well, these guys aren't drilling, so we'll just have them head on over to Cyprus. Cool. So that seems fine. Over they go. We might actually get there in time. It's going to be close. We got there in time. Beautiful. So that's done, and now we're going to just head right back to Napoli. Fantastic. It is, however, time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to wrap up some of these constructions, and I really think we're going to attack Medina. I really think we want to do that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.